the Land Rover presidential proposal, blessing his legacy and the nation's greatness, erasing all budget deficits, the homeless man ecological plan. Please allow a former millionaire to bring the nation and myself back from the brink, by Chuck Thompson, author and director of Rural Emergency. A global solution, $1 trillion man plan, pays all healthcare act costs $2 trillion in 10 years. Established by the Watchman Program, 0 new taxes needed. 10,000 physical health exchange centers generates $2 trillion in new revenue, funding all healthcare costs. Portable and renewable green energy facilities will generate a green industry throughout the nation, economically and ecologically. Communication centers will include local and federal outlets, offices for police, fire department, search and rescue teams, FEMA, CDC, USDA, and the Department of Energy, and yes, a post office, too. The answer to all economical and ecological problems is the Watchman Program. The country's 3 areas of national focus: A, balanced budget; B, immigration reform; C, farm bill. The Watchman Program is much bigger than that. Number 1, will protect the nation from terrorist attacks from the inside out. Number 2, will nationwide create millions of jobs for citizens within and military personnel coming home. Number 3, will generate billions of new revenue for the federal and local government to reconcile their books. 4, will establish a green facilities industry, building homes, schools, medical units, and portable farms. 5, will build a universal vehicle for educating new entrepreneurs and training emergency responders. Number 6, will help rein in rogue rulers, working with our allies, diffusing threats of war and terrorism. Number 7, will give generous help to refugees displaced from their homes globally. Yes, it's bigger than that. Biggerisbetter.com. With the Watchman Program, an economical, ecological global solution, help solves the debt limits, sequester the war on terror with Syria and Iran and others throughout the Middle East, health insurance exchange centers, elimination legislation frustration, building a new renewable facilities industry, establishing 42 million jobs, generating over $4.2 trillion globally. Yes. It's time to hire Chuck Thompson, a better crisis solver than Olivia Pope and Jack Bauer. Moreover, I'm for real, not Memorex. The Watchman Program winning election economic proposal. Special interests resistant proof. Over a quarter of the entire state budget will be generated annually, and that's any state throughout the union or the global community. How to provide millions of jobs and billions in new revenue without legislation frustration. Solving the budget, border crisis, police, fire department, education protection, and funding universities. The answer to illegal border states activity. Providing living wage jobs for citizens where they live. There they will stay, and those who fled will return. The Watchman Program provides the solution for the city's crisis and solves the state and the nation, serving as an example for the global community. Winning a Nation, a book written by author Chuck Thompson, an economic, immigration, jobs, and revenue proposal. Winning the nation is a global plan for the global community. 5. The Global Emergency Disaster Economic Crisis Funding Solution. The debt, droughts, the EU, terrorists, Sandy, the Philippines, Chicago, and a family of calamities to come. The billions in disaster aid needed from, say, Hurricane Sandy, future disasters, along with funding education, counseling facilities because of increased national violence, all can be accomplished. Many disasters to come will be funded by setting up emergency economic job training communication centers throughout the entire union. Nationwide, $1 trillion in new revenue will be generated along with millions of new jobs throughout the country, serving as an example of sustainable renewable energy for the global community. The building of portable emergency economic job training and information centers where corporations throughout the country will internationally sponsor. Also building funding for future disasters. It is the economic, ecological education system the nation needs to protect the community and provide new jobs and revenue. Fence around any sequester fiscal cliff. A new facilities industry will be established, providing new homes, schools, offices, emergency medical units, portable farms, and education counseling centers, not just for the general public, but for also the mentally ill, which is an increasingly heavy problem upon all nations. Beneficial information will help prevent many national crises. The renewable blessings of this proposal is no foreign borrowing, no new taxes, no new spending plan, and no vital service cutting. New working and living spaces fueled on renewable energy will help wean old facilities off the grid. An ecological building system will be implemented as a way of economic life. The Watchman Program, Communicating Job Centers, is the solution to revive cities from bankruptcy and pull other cities back from the cliff of bankruptcy. This economic system will be an ecological vehicle for cleaner, greener facilities nationwide. Every state in the union will generate billions in revenue to reconcile their books, and the federal government $1 trillion annually to pay down the debt. One last superpower success story will be achieved economically, ecologically, and educationally. The international community will also benefit. 6. WeWatchGov.com. Solving privacy concerns from citizens with security surveillance tactics, government agency practice, striving to protect the nation will be satisfactorily addressed. A fully informed, properly educated public working side by side with government officials is the same solution solving all global crises. Listen, the Watchman Program gives the nation's citizens the ability, placing a nationwide surveillance spotlight on our government, local and federal, removing government agencies from behind the secure shadows of their Washington offices and locally throughout the nation, into the full view of people will be beneficial for the people. This economical, ecological, educational security program established a platform where watchful eyes of the public will be on their public officials, and not just the other way around. Agencies, local and federal, will more efficiently help fully the citizens they vow to serve, leaving very little time to spy. The Watchman Program will set up portable community job training information media centers. The communication centers operating on renewable energy will house local agencies such as, again, the police department, fire department, and search and rescue teams, with federally, Homeland Security, FEMA, the CDC, and other embedded agencies within various media networks also reporting throughout all centers on a daily basis, 24 hours in most cases. The embedded media will monitor and report on all Situation Room meetings conducted by all government agencies in the emergency centers. 10,000 new Green Zero Grid facilities built and established in every city and state across the nation. The country will provide 10 million new jobs and again generating $1 trillion in new revenue annually. The Watchman program will be a global vehicle, allowing international governments to work hand in hand with the nation's private sector, providing security with a real sense of peace for its citizens. A trust with any people can only be achieved through working together for the good of each other, with freedom from persecution and all attacks from terrorists, and yes, that's right, the government itself. Number 7. All agencies under Homeland Security, protection, and funding solutions start at the borders. The Watchman program can secure the borders economically, ecologically. The targeted 700 miles of border marked for reinforcement within the United States will be secured at a fraction of the predicted costs. Right now, all border states can be protected and secured for well under $300 million. Not $3 billion or $30 billion. Plus 1,400 BPO, Border Protection Office command centers will be set up, 2 BPO units per mile, every 4 blocks along the 700 miles of border. These Green Zero Grid command centers operates on renewable energy, moreover at no extra cost to the government. 4,200 new border officer agents, 2 per mile, will be hired, utilizing military personnel coming home to work as civilians will help protect the nation within from outside enemies of the state. The Homeland Security Agency family, some 22 members and counting, must now come together as a family. All members must communicate closely and seamlessly with each other to proficiently protect the nation's citizens with a 100% success rate. Anything under 100% complete protection success is unacceptable. The best way to achieve this mission impossible success is bringing all major agencies, local and federal, under one roof, working side by side to maintain protection perfection. When all hands are on deck and all eyes on board, or borders, the invisible becomes visible. Then the only ones remaining in the dark is the enemy, ready to be captured. Example 0 Dark 30. Communicating openly, sharing common and crucial information as families do daily around the dinner table is a tried and tested method. Capturing random but critical intel. Yes, even that which is running along a marathon route, ready to explode. How to protect the people and economically finance that protection is within the Watchman program. Listen, the 10,000 emergency communication and job training centers will provide 10 million new jobs and generate $1 trillion in new revenue. Will be the mission impossible success story, not just for the United States, but the international community. All details explained are spelled out within the publication entitled Reconciling Us a Revolution is the answer. Number 8. Since the corporations throughout the nation and the global community will provide the funding, the sponsorship for all of these emergency, energy, economic, health exchange centers, I address one of the biggest throughout the nation, which is Walmart. Here's a brief statement, letter to the corporation Walmart. Being the biggest job provider within the United States, I believe that you will be the biggest job provider internationally as well. We're ready to build a $1 trillion industry on the top of the billions you've already made. We would like to set up an emergency economic job training centers on the property of Walmart stores, primarily the ones that are open 24-hour basis. You can bail the country out by setting up these job training centers by sponsoring them. The centers will house the local and federal authorities working side by side to help terrorism, giving citizens understanding of what to do and how to do in a national disaster or terrorist attack or threat. The police, the fire department, search and rescue teams, as well as federally Homeland Security, the CDC, FEMA, and other agencies will house these portable, zero-grid emergency communication economic centers that will be placed on the parking lot structures of Walmart. Now, eventually, we would like to extend the program to Home Depot, Lowe's department store, because the facility center will be displayed of portable homes right on the parking lot structure, schools, offices, and emergency clinics. Individual citizens and corporations will purchase these facilities throughout the cities these centers are placed. Everything that they see that is out within the property structure, say of Walmart, they will be able to buy inside the stores of Walmart. These zero-grid facilities, which means off the grid, will operate on emergency energy power systems. We call it the ESP model of system, energy solar power. Our renewable power system will run all of the electrical applications inside the homes, schools, portable offices, portable medical facilities, and portable farm facilities, all built in a steel containerized system. Now, please note, all the president's administration needs to do is to bring these corporations into the Oval Office and wine and dine them. Let them order a la carte and help them with whatever tax incentives or bond measures to allow them to sponsor these centers throughout the nation, providing the 10 million jobs and the $1 trillion in new revenue that the country will receive on an annual basis. And billions more will be given from the sponsorship dollars back to the corporations who established them. You have other agencies, network agencies, media agencies, such as the OWN Network, International Studio Center's proposal, the destiny of OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network, is to have portable studios, television stations in every city, major, across the nation, reaching out, having a branch emergency reporting studio internationally as well. 10,000 of these portable TV studios will be strategically placed in every major city across the nation. Each will be housed in the Emergency Economic Job Training Center. The proposal, entitled the Watchman Program, gives the full detail of this presentation. And again, this is not just for the OWN Oprah Winfrey Network, but renewable energy studio centers reporting the news globally. Number 10, a new facilities industry. Building homes, schools, offices, emergency medical centers, portable farms will provide the millions in jobs and trillions in revenue annually. Throughout the nation, 10,000 of these network portable studios operating on renewable energy will be embedded within the emergency communication centers, reporting throughout the country and the global community. New network advertisement sales will increase significantly within all media agencies, local, domestically and internationally. Located on the corporation-sponsored property, new revenue within the billions will be generated by the corporations themselves, along with a plethora of businesses surrounding the reporting community centers. Now, again, it's much bigger than that. Number 11, solving our national and international crisis. Terrorism, Syria, North Korea. Foreign and domestic fallout from future crises to come. Listen, all of these crises are lacking three common crucial elements to be successfully solved. 1, education. 2, communication. 3, economics. The Watchman program provides all. Number 1, a new education system to give guidance and direction on what to do and how to do in an emergency, disaster, or international crisis. 2, a new communication system allowing all government agencies, local and federal, in every city and state throughout the Union to communicate seamlessly without delay, including the international allies. Number 3, a new economic system fully financing all government agencies, local and federal, including all international responsibilities or leadership obligations. The Global Emergency Renewable Energy Health Exchange Information Job Centers setup will grant success to all nations who establish them. Number 12, the climate change carbon emissions. The Department of Energy Center's proposal, building a nationwide green zero-grid facilities industry to bring a nation on board, adopting a new green facilities industry, building homes, schools, offices, medical units, portable farms. The country's citizens must see it. The people must be able to touch and feel this new way of life, this new green living industry on display within their own world, where they live, work, and play. The Watchman program will be a nationwide vehicle. The Department of Energy and other federal and local agencies, including organizations such as the WGES, World Green Energy Symposium, will place all the wonderful renewable ideas into action. The private sector, working with government agencies, placing this essential renewable change front and center within energy city centers, where the country's citizens live, is the adoption key. Please note, I am a sponsor of the WGES World Green Energy Symposium. We will set up a portable renewable energy facility center at the next WGES conference, which is in New York. Not just for New York, but the entire international community to view, on display, purchase, and take away. Number 13, the Michigan Economic Jobs and Revenue Plan. Shipping containers to become condos in Detroit? Listen, a new industry is about to rise within Detroit and throughout the many cities of Michigan. Like the new car industry, which dominated for decades within the state, a new facilities industry will also dominate. Renewable energy, zero-grid homes, schools, offices, emergency medical units, and portable farm facilities is the future. The Motown Motor City will happily sing again. I will personally move into the neighborhood to transform all the run-down, blighted homes into bright, renewable energy run homes. The Watchman program will build renewable energy facilities throughout the city, and all neighborhoods will be renewed to an Emerald City status, a green city which operates on renewable energy. Kind of corny, perhaps. Yeah. Yet no one will think so when the billions in new monthly revenue motors in as the once great car maker of the city's past, adopts a new facilities industry. General Motors will not only be assembling renewable energy cars, but manufacturing zero-grid facilities running on renewable energy throughout the city, state, and the nation. Listen, I believe the economic and ecological turn around will be a dramatic, renewable, bright light and an example for not just the country, but the global community. Yes, the city of Detroit will be bright enough and successful enough for the Olympics. Number 14, USA Olympics. Economical, ecological proposal. Preparing for the Olympics starts today. The Olympics proposal should not just be thought of as some noble goal, but rather a vital and essential project to achieve a pinnacle goal of capturing the Olympics. Hosting this global forum can be successfully achieved. It is a visionary plan that will help get our economic house in order throughout the city and state, as well as the entire nation. Establishing a new industry across the city, the state, and the entire country will help us successfully achieve the goal. Not just to reach it, but surpass it. The basic proposal establishes, again, listen, the economic job training centers throughout every major city in every state in order to be a light and an example across the entire nation to the rest of the world, as well as building a new facilities industry. Facilities that run on their own renewable energy sources. Zero grid facilities, simply not hooked up to the power grid, but portable, is the event of an emergency, disaster, earthquake, fire, flood. In those events, these units will be crucial. They can be moved out of the threatened area and moved back when the threat is gone. These new facilities, homes, schools, offices, emergency medical units, and portable farms will become the new green industry solution economically and ecologically throughout the city, state, and the entire nation, as well as the international community. The centers will provide much more. It's bigger than that for the citizens, and around these centers within the cities where they're placed. Job training fairs will be conducted on the site of these portable centers, training the citizens for new careers and entrepreneur endeavors, especially within the new industry of portable green facilities. Number 15. There is one last superpower success story that remains. Again, for the entire global community. Building new facilities industry, providing 40 plus million jobs and 4.2 trillion in new revenue coming soon to a common market near you. Number 16. That includes the entire continent of Africa. For example, Gabon is the key. Economically and ecologically, the key. Not only for the continent of Africa, but the entire global community. Being one of the sponsors, including throughout the United States, establishing and building of 10,000 emergency economic renewable energy health exchange centers is what's needed in the United States. Gabon, or we can place any country's name. Saudi Arabia, supplying those facilities, yields her over $1 trillion in new revenue and establishes millions of jobs within the United States and about 40 million on a global scale. Now, I mentioned Gabon because of its ingenuity and renewable energy activity. Now is the time to capitalize. All nations to embed the country in all the 280 plus consulate offices and embassies the United States has around the world. Again, all nations must come on board globally. Not just Africa, but nations throughout Asia, the Middle East, as well as the Latin American nations. Number 17, the Watchman Program proposal funding America. Affordable Care Act, emergency disaster declarations, terrorist attacks and threats. We can fund it all. The Watchman Program Economic Job and Revenue Plan will provide what all cities and states throughout the Union needs. Significant, comprehensive help in time of crisis. Funding the Affordable Care Act, disaster declarations, national security protection, education, funding FEMA and other agencies under the Department of Homeland Security within budget shortfalls can be met. Again, also the U.S. Postal Service demise with the threat of 120,000 jobs layoffs pending. The Watchman Program can help bridge the gap for our official mail service and many trouble agencies as well. Department store corporations such as Walmart, again, Home Depot, Sears, Target, Lowe's Department Store, Costco, home improvement centers, and others will provide the initial financing needs of the nation. Again, these economic centers will generate the revenue needed to fund not only the President's Job Act or Health Care Act or any act that the legislative bodies within Washington, D.C. comes up to help the American people and to solve the budget crisis in many of our cities, in every state, throughout the community, throughout the Union, can be achieved. Major corporations will sponsor the 10,000 centers established nationwide, giving upwards to $200,000, $25,200,000 per quarter. That's right, that's the goal. A little over $100 million per year times 10,000 green information centers equals the potential revenue of $1 trillion on an annual basis. Now, an approximate 1,000 jobs will be produced to operate these communication centers. Mathematically, 1,000 jobs to be filled times 10,000 centers equals 10 million jobs created. Potentially, 10 million jobs can be accomplished all within the first year's completion of the program, of the centers. Now, cutting to the chase on page 22. The Watchman Program Benefit Summary. Number 1, $2 trillion in new revenue generated by the Watchman Program in record time. Number 2, over 10,000 health, care, emergency economic job training and information centers will be set up nationwide. Number 3, 10 million new jobs produced from coast to coast within the first year's completion of the Watchman Program. Emergency centers will be accomplished. Number 4, able to fund the Affordable Health Care Act, disaster declarations, national security protection, education. In every major city, $100 million of potential new revenue will be generated in every emergency communication center established. Investment earnings and for corporations sponsoring the centers will more than double. Number 5, an estimated $1 trillion nationwide will be generated. Breakdown of the revenue, giving 30% to the city, 30% to the state, 30% to the federal government, and 10% to maintain the centers on an annual basis. Number 6, every city within every state throughout the Union will be generously helped to reconcile their books regarding the budget crisis most states and cities face countrywide. Number 7, domestic services from public schools along with police, fire department, search and rescue teams, libraries, city parks, and many social programs will be able to continue operating, meet payroll, and maintain employment levels within all major cities across the nation. Number 8, a new green facilities industry will be built. A display of new homes, schools, offices, emergency clinics, health exchange centers, and portable farms will be set up around the ecological gridless centers in over 2,000 cities throughout the nation. Number 9, billions in sales from the new zero grid facilities industry and billions more generated weaning old facilities off the grid will be established. Number 10, our colleges and universities having joint venture partnerships with construction companies, designing and building the centers along with all the new green zero grid facilities will be an enormous benefit. Students within our higher learning institutions will not only learn firsthand this new greens facilities technology, but earn income now and establish job employment relationships for the future. Now, recently the president spoke about reforming the high schools and how they learn to get them prepared and ready for the corporations that need their services. This will be a vital key for at least the sophomores and juniors and seniors to come and visit the campuses in and around their areas as field trips, and also lend a hand to those college students learning this new technology, which is fully paid for by the construction companies that are partnered up with the corporations to build these emergency economic education communication centers. Number 11, a new water and power industry will be systematically set up and standardized throughout the nations. Biofuel, water desalination purifiers, and biofuel power generators and trucks will operate the entire facilities industry. This new industry will be established not just domestically in America, but internationally as well. Number 12, local and federal agencies such as Homeland Security, FEMA, the CDC, and locally the police, the fire department, search and rescue teams will have offices within the emergency centers. Emergency agencies will train first, second, and third responders throughout the nation. All citizens will be given the opportunity to know what to do and how to do in an emergency disaster or terrorist attack. Number 13, cash-strapped government agencies such as the FAA, FEMA, the U.S. Postal Service will benefit directly with revenues earned from the Watchman program. Our Postal Service will also have a post office, again, located within the centers. Male employees which operate these facilities will be paid directly from the revenues generated within the centers. Most of the 120,000, or if it's been updated, postal employees with threatened layoffs can be accommodated within these communication centers. Number 14, a new nationwide infrastructure of biofuel, hydrogen, and natural gas stations will be another vast generator of revenue, richly fueling our economy. The Watchman program will establish a new global green facilities industry, regulating and advancing zero grid technologies, utilizing renewable power sources. All academies built on the systematic foundation of 10,000 emergency information economic job centers is the solution. 10,000 fuel stations, think about it, established in every center will provide billions in new revenue shared by every city and state in the Union. Please note, the Kyoto Treaty could not dream to have such success, and this without penalized for carbon infractions throughout the nation and the global community. The global community will all benefit and go along freely because they are fueled with green, that is, revenue, to reconcile their books. This new green facilities industry, produced by the Watchman program, will not only be an irreplaceable revenue generator for our federal government to pay down the debt, but also an economic boost to help the international community reconcile their books as well. The recent disaster in the Philippines, for example, the GEP, Global Emergency Provisions Watchman Program, World Emergency Homes, Jobs, and Revenue Proposal. We can provide the basic necessities of life that the citizens need that are suffering from the recent disasters. Immediately we can supply the food, clothes, shelter, and emergency first aid from warehouses internationally. However, immediately we believe that most important needs to have a shelter. Shelters that are built into homes, schools, and medical units. Sound steel structures, very strong and portable. When there is another disaster such as a major flood, earthquake, fire, or even civil unrest, these strong facilities can simply be moved out of harm's way and moved back when the threat is no longer there. Moreover, they operate on renewable energy. Solar power battery pack systems are structured within these facilities to run all the electrical applications inside. Listen, we will pay the citizens direct, that's right, for building their own home, which will hopefully be given free of charge by the emergency aid received. The manufacturing of homes, schools, offices, emergency medical units, and portable farms will continue to be made well after the disaster and restorations of the communities are finished. As you know, many other emergency situations take place almost on a weekly basis throughout Asia and the entire global community. Therefore, we would like to set up a permanent manufacturing facility within the area to continue to provide the jobs within the thousands and revenue, which will add up within the multiple millions, can help the citizens throughout the country, as well as the local and federal government. Number 18, the GEP program, Global Emergency Provisions. The basic necessities of life, food, clothes, shelter, emergency first aid. Throughout the international community, those who are displaced from their homes can find shelter within the GEP program. Emergency portable facilities will be immediately set up as instant communicating centers. Instant communities anywhere in the world. Our portable renewable energy facilities will strive to meet the basic needs of people displaced. Home schools, information centers, emergency medical units, food kitchens with restroom and shower units will be established. The emergency information, communication, community centers will provide knowledge, guidance, and hope, giving a real sense of direction of how to piece together their lives, also lending them a little peace of mind as well. The who, what, when, why, where, and how we pay for it all, again, is written within the publication Reconciling Us a Revolution. Number 19, intervention. Some countries need it. We can lovingly reach our hand out, the international community, to those who need intervention. The simple solution for all nations crying out for help. The North Korean crisis has a simple solution. We all know the nation needs the basic necessities of life, food, clothes, shelter, and emergency first aid. Please, let me provide what is needed. Facilitate my entry within the country. Not just Dennis Rodman. We can all go over, facilitate, present this comprehensive proposal, supplying the food, the jobs, and future revenue. The GEP, Global Emergency Provisions, will take care of their current basic necessities. Yet, to consistently provide the country's need, the Watchman program will yield the new productivity needed. establishing, even within North Korea, a new portable green facilities industry. This is the foundational building key, essential to opening doors to the global community. Building homes, schools, medical units, and portable farms will help sustain their nation and provide their own ability for themselves, as well as providing new portable green facilities for their neighbors. This economical, ecological system will help sustain the peace we all seek. Listen, let's quickly set this up within that nation. The Watchman program can help provide immediate calm on all sides of this crisis. And yes, even facilitate a quick release for those being held against their will. Now, the reason for the title of this publication, the Land Rover Presidential Proposal, blessing his legacy and the nation's greatness. I believe we can do just that. Yes, I am giving you this presentation directly from my Land Rover. And it is also titled The Homeless Man, Economic Ecological Plan. Again, please allow a former millionaire to bring the nation and myself back from the brink. Within the publication that I've been blessed to write, Reconciling Us with Revolution, the Watchman program within will do just that. Bless every city and state throughout the Union to reconcile its books, as well as the international community, providing jobs for millions throughout the global community and trillions of new revenue on an annual basis. Please contact me direct, 626-243-8200, chuck@worldemergency.com. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and working with you soon.